Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Agent Network Spotlight, where I introduce you to some of the most successful agents from across the country, so that if you know someone moving or if you're moving out of town, you have a good list from which to pull, and you can meet all these wonderful agents. So today we have Amanda Jones from out in San Francisco, and she is right there. Hey, Amanda, welcome to Agent Network Spotlight. I'm so happy that you joined us.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Juliet.
Okay, so I should tell people that you and I first met. We are fellow Compass agents. And was I with Compass when, we did meet when I was with Compass. But we met at a conference, the Tom Ferry Summit, not this year, but last year. So I'm so excited that we can connect. And I want to tell people more, or you to tell people more about where you serve and break that down for us.
Oh, wonderful. So I have lived in San Francisco since 1994. And basically, I love the heart of the city. San Francisco has 10 districts. It's really quite a packed area for a 7x7 radius. And it's interesting. I find myself going to the different corners of the city based on the business my clients bring me. But my heart is truly in that sort of central part of San Francisco. So Lower Pacific Heights, the Panhandle, Alamo Square. I'm definitely more of a neighborhood specialist. So if you're looking in even the southeast part of the city, Bernal Heights, Glen Park, Noe Valley, those are really great neighborhoods, really amazing appreciation. And I think one thing people really like about me is I tell it like it is. I'm a straight shooter. And for me, that means I sell neighborhoods that I really believe in. And I've seen clients year after year have a great quality of life and also really wonderful appreciation in the neighborhoods that I sell.
And I imagine that appreciation factor is not easy in San Francisco.
Well, a lot of our appreciation's tied on availability of housing and also on the economy and on the technology sector.
Yes.
Anything that's on those shuttle routes where people can take the shuttle to various headquarters locations for, Apple, Google, the biotech companies. So, for example, a neighborhood like Glen Park has seen 30% appreciation over 5 years.
Amazing.
It's not unusual for a client to buy a starter house at $1.3 million a couple years ago, and now it's worth $1.7 million or $1.8 million with not that much work put into it.
Amazing. So I have a question. So I didn't realize, so you just said that San Francisco is 7 miles, like 7 miles square, 7 square miles?
Yes, it is.
That is small.
It is.
It was so compact.
It's pretty dense. And, when I moved to San Francisco in 1994, you could go from one end of the city to the other end in half an hour. And now with all the construction and with the way the roads are outlined here, it's geometry. There's only so many cars that can get through certain parts of the city. So I find sometimes it can take me an hour to go a distance that I used to be able to go 10 years ago in 20 minutes.
Absolutely. Boston's the same way. It's a nightmare. Yeah. And so actually, I'm going to ask you, how do people get around? Is there do most people drive? Or is there an initiative to either be walking, biking? What's the public transport there?
Yeah, so we've got something called BART, and BART is Bay Area Rapid Transit. And a lot of people coming in from the East Bay utilize it, and it actually cuts down on people's commutes in a huge way. Right. Our realtor map has all the BART stops on it, and I can't tell you how many people tell me they want to be near a BART station. They want to be near a Muni station. People pay for an ease of transit. We see a lot of people on scooters, on bikes in San Francisco. They've been overhauling all of the bike lanes. Mm-hmm. The weather here is really pretty good, so you can pretty much bike almost 12 months of the year.
Yes.
We're doing a lot of rideshare in San Francisco. So Lyft and Uber are very popular. They're both headquartered here. I find myself leaving my car in the parking lot at work a lot and just taking an Uber to a location, and sometimes even doing all of my client tours that way if I'm in a certain part of the city. Um, I think that we're all understanding that it's more dense now. We all have to work together. It's forced me to work smarter. I actually have
Yep.
to sometimes do my day virtually. Like I'll just go across the city, set up camp in a listing or a coffee shop, and be ready because when you're showing property, you can't be late, and a lot of times you have to come early to get
Early.
everything ready.
Yep.
Yeah, and I find that I want to when I'm showing property or I'm taking a buyer around, I want to be relaxed. I don't think people want your stress level going into their real estate search.
Of course. And it is, I feel like traffic and, commuting wherever it is and when is very stressful. And that can definitely rattle your day. For
Oh,
sure.
yeah, and, I used to do a lot of relocation for a couple of the biotech companies, and immediately one of the first things I do is get out the real estate map, talk about their lifestyle, talk about where they're commuting. If they don't know where the other spouse is going to work or where their kids are going to go to school, it makes it a little more challenging, but I can generally help them find neighborhoods that are going to be really versatile. And I think that that is key. You have to really understand how the city lives and breathes, and also not be afraid to tell people, hey, I think this neighborhood that you're really drawn to, it's a great neighborhood, but you know what? You
Not
guys
for
have
you.
two kids,
Yeah.
and I just think the lifestyle there isn't going to be as good. Can I show you two or three other areas? And, a lot of times people come to San Francisco thinking that they want one thing. And then once they actually spend a little bit of time here, they realize, oh, yeah, there's all these other neighborhoods that I don't even know about. So the story of San Francisco is really that it's a city of many neighborhoods. And having someone come and just take you by the hand and really listen to you and pick out that neighborhood will save so much time and energy. I
And
think there's
heartbreak too, I feel.
Yes,
You know?
yes, yes. You have to be very real with people about where you see the price going, where you see the number of offers coming in.
Yeah.
San Francisco is really interesting. If you're in an entry level price point, which for us is under 2 million,
Hmm.
um, you can expect several offers on a property, and a property could be listed for 1,200,000, but it's really going to sell for 1,500,000. And
Right.
so it's trying to navigate those things so you don't waste your time writing offers on things that aren't going to close.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Boston is very similar, obviously at a smaller scale, or price point, I should say, but it is the same thing. When you're talking about budget, you have to allow for that buffer because it's
Yeah.
likely going to go higher.
Yeah.
So tell me, okay, I want to hear about your experience with Compass, how long you've been there, and tell me your experience.
Okay. So I love talking about this. I was the very first agent on board in San Francisco. So,
Wow.
yeah, August 31st, 2016. So the anniversary is coming up. We literally did not have an office. All I went on was our CEO's word, the general vibe and direction that I saw Compass taking. And I love that Compass, if you work with Compass, whether you're an agent or you're a client, it doesn't matter whether you're entry level or super luxury. We have a collection of properties and a collection of agents that really scales. And that was really appealing to me. I came from a brokerage, a luxury brokerage, that it was really all about the price point and how expensive things were. And I just really feel clients deserve a level of service no matter what their price point is. I
Yes.
just think it's super important. And Compass, it was, we started off with just a handful of us, and now we're more than 35% of the market share in San Francisco.
Wild. I mean,
It's wild.
just 3 years.
Yeah. And there were several acquisitions along the way. I'm very happy that I got to really build my place at Compass,
Yeah.
and have a deep understanding of the tools and all of the resources that Compass has. Being one of the founding agents, a lot of my input in the office is taken seriously, and it's a company that I think really values people's feedback no matter what, whether you're a new client, a new agent to the company. There's a level of collaboration at Compass that I have never seen anywhere else. And I think people genuinely feel our excitement about the business. And the buyers that we work with and the sellers we work with, they deserve transparency. They deserve to have the very best representation they can have, bottom line.
Yes.
It's a huge transaction, right? And it's not even the dollar amount. It's the stress level of trying to
Yes.
very quickly execute something. And it's very interesting. We meet people, and within a day, we need to gain their trust and have them feel like we have their back and we're going to tell them the right thing. I've just always felt that way from the very beginning when I got into the business. I tell people I cashed out a 401k, so I had enough money to live on for a year. And it might not have been the best tax situation, best
Mhm.
tax decision, but I tell you, I told myself I'm only going to do this and I'm only going to do things that make sense for my client. And I started that with that thought early in the business, and it's really carried me through. You take care of people, they take care of you, and it's a really beautiful thing.
Yeah. And I imagine we talked about you talked about the different neighborhoods and what's best for your client. We have a very competitive market also. But I
Yeah.
find myself when people get very anxious and worked up about this process and they're losing on bids, they start compromising on what they really want. And
Yeah.
compromise is good, but I mean, they go to the extreme. So I find myself talking people out of things a lot. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, you and your child don't want to live in the old people's building. No, that's not going to work, right?
Yeah.
Just,
No,
just to get
I,
into the community. No.
I tell people if you have a list of 10 things and you get 6 or 7 of them in San Francisco, you're
Live,
doing
right?
really well.
Yeah.
And it's generally comes down to a question of neighborhood and amenities versus size and utility of a property. So
Mhm.
if a client really wants to be in that neighborhood where they can walk to coffee, take that shuttle, they might be compromising on the number of bedrooms. I think if somebody wants a view and they want to have a lot of space and they're willing to forego the walkability and some of those amenities, they can get that. But it's going to be a drive or more of planning your commute.
Yeah.
And it's hard to tell people what's the right decision. It's really about what's going to make that client happy.
Mhm.
And to your point, you really don't want somebody rushing and then calling you a year later unhappy with the house. I love it when I get asked over to visit with a buyer and it's been 10 years since I sold them the house, and to see how they've expanded into
I
it, how they're
know.
really happy, and how they actually don't want to leave, but they maybe have another child or the mom is coming to live with them and they
Yeah.
have to move. And you realize how important these homes are, that people are literally creating their their family there, their work there. I've got a couple of authors as clients, and they work from home.
Yeah.
And I'm totally tickled when I get to see their offices. And one of them was recently named a poet laureate, and he's
Really?
published 7 or 8 books. And I love knowing where his desk is, what he looks out onto. I know where his coffee maker is. I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
it's super fun to be a part of that. And as you know, many times clients call you before they even tell their family that they're expecting another child,
Oh,
or
no, we always know. We
we
always,
always know. We
yeah.
always know. And that part's super fun, and that's why I like doing residential. I do work with a lot of developers and architects. So if someone's got a rundown building and they're trying to figure out, should we create apartments out of it? Should we just keep it as an apartment building? Um, I love working on that kind of stuff too. But generally, most of the things that we're engaged in are homes that people live in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so we've covered Compass. I do want to talk about, we're talking about, transparency and integrity and working in the best interest of our clients. I have to tell you, I know there's a big push for Compass Concierge, and which is amazing. And for
Yes.
those of you who don't know, Compass Concierge is a product where Compass will front the funds for renovations or any sorts of preparations to get your home in the market to get you more money, ultimately.
Yeah.
And you just pay at the closing. There's no fee, no interest. But I found I have a client, it's a referral, I had talked about it earlier, and the circumstances were very sort of sudden and sad. And so not only were they able to do these renovations to prepare the home, which they hadn't even thought they'd have to do, but and pay for it up front. They didn't have the liquid money, but also just to relieve them of that anxiety and the preparation, just like have this. Take care of yourself. We'll take care of this, and we'll get it done. And it's just, and that's a very thoughtful service that I think Compass, and I do believe it was based on thought, business too, but very thoughtful endeavor. So I've been thrilled with it.
Yeah, Compass has been great for my business as well and for my clients. Some of them, they had the money to do some of the initial work, but then as the market shifted and they may be on the market a little bit longer, they need the extension time on the staging. Sometimes clients just, they're smart with their money and they're like, hey, this is basically free financing. I can do more than I had planned. And, I don't have the stress of putting it on a credit card. There's a lot of fees that sometimes vendors charge. So in addition to not having to pay interest on the card, on the vendor side, I have one vendor, she charges almost 3%. And if you're doing a $40,000 job, that adds up. And so it's nice to have clients focus on what's important. And also another thing you touch on, a lot of times as agents, we will sometimes finance these things ourselves. And I try not to do that because I want to keep completely neutral in the transaction and not have a stake other than wanting to see my client do well. And when you start lending people money, even, $10,000, $5,000, you start having a stake in it, and it sort of muddies the water a little bit. And I know this is a hot topic too. A lot of times when I have my own listings and it's a competitive market as well, I don't represent buyers on my listings. I really try to keep it completely neutral. I think as we shift into a market that may be a little more balanced, it'll be interesting to see. I think everybody who does Compass concierge and really improves their property, they're going to fare a lot better than people who don't put the effort in,
Right.
And all the pain and the time that you have to put in getting it ready usually translates to a much faster escrow and fewer problems in escrow. In California, we do inspections and we do all of our disclosures up front. So if you come to San Francisco and you write an offer, you're going to be given a disclosure package that could be anywhere from 150 pages to 500-600 pages.
Woo!
Yeah. And that's where the agent really helps you to look through all of those pages to figure out what are the most important disclosures, what are maybe typical disclosures, sort of put a face on what that is. And it's different than other markets. We also generally don't have attorneys involved. So having so having a working understanding of our basic laws are important, and having that Rolodex of an attorneys that you can call if you do need help is key.
Mm-hmm. We used attorneys for everything. For everything. Awesome. Okay, so thank you for all of that and your time. Are you going to Miami?
I am. I can't wait.
All right, me too. I am so excited. I did not go to Nashville. Did you go to Nashville?
I did. Yeah.
I really want to commit to going to each retreat. I was out in LA last year, and that was awesome. So, and I went to school in Miami, so my reunion's happening at the same time. So it's going to be awesome. Can't wait.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Amanda, very, very, very much. I appreciate you, and this has been really great. I've learned so much about the San Francisco market. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome, and thanks for having me. I look forward to collaborating.
Likewise. Take care.
Take care.
So that was Amanda Jones in San Francisco from Compass. Thank you for joining us today at our Agent Network Spotlight. We'll see you next week, next Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard. Thanks. Bye.